Hey, what's up guys? Welcome to part 38 of the GTO Trainer. First hand here, under the gun opens, we're in the big blind with 9-8 of diamonds. Perfect hand to be playing up against a very tight, strong under the gun range. Given that the 9-8 suited, unlikely to be outkicked in a lot of situations. Hits a lot of boards that the under the gun range doesn't hit, such as low, straighty boards. And we can end up winning a really big pot with a very disguised hand. Especially on ace-high boards, for example. This is going to be a very easy call. Board comes ace, jack, 7. Not a lot going for us. We do have a gut shot, not much else. This is going to heavily favor the under the gun range. They're going to have a lot of strong ace X, a lot of strong jack X, for example. We do have more combos of spade draws than they do. But that's just not a lot really for us to continue with, given that we don't actually have it. We can represent it, but we don't have it. This is going to be an easy check, probably going, we get a check back. So that could mean that they've got, for example, maybe under pair here, like 10s, 9s, 8s, or maybe just an under pair to the ace, potentially. But you would have thought even an under pair to the ace would have c-bet at an extremely high frequency. King rolls off. That even pretty much hits the only combos that don't have a pair at this point. You know, like King Queen, for example, King 10, and then yeah, they've just got some under pairs as well here potentially. The only like Queens, 10s maybe, but. Yeah, with just pretty much no equity for us aside from that lone 10, but even if we do hit that 10, that'll be a one-line into a queen, and under the gun has a lot more queen X than we do, so we'll probably even be just mostly playing a bluff catching, even if we do hit our jack high straight. So we're going to check, once again, check folding here. Under the gun checks back. Yes, they've given us rope. Yes, they have pretty much shown zero interest in this hand. But I just don't think that we are going to be able to bluff them off anything. They're most likely trying to get us to catch up, trying to get us to bluff at it, so that they can, you know, come in with a check raise, try to get some value from us. They're probably trying to wait for us to catch up or something along those lines. But I still don't see a reason for us to try to bluff at it. As you can see, they do have King 10. Pretty much like they've got plenty of ace X, they got plenty of jack X, they got plenty of king X. And our king's not going to be folding because we can't really strongly represent a strong ace X. Yes, we could have some ace suited ace X suited, for example, but I reckon the king will probably snap call unless we go with a very egregious sizing, just because they won't believe that we can have a strong ace X here, and they'll probably be very comfortable with you know, the percentage of the time that we show up here with just a stone cold bluff. And also we can't represent strong king X, strong jack X, etc. Moving on to the next hand. Small blind opens. We're in the big blind with jack 6 offsuit. Offsuit garbage, very easy snap fold. Pretty much no equity to fall back on at all, even though that we are in position. Just a downright horrific hand. Following up with another horrific hand, 9 deuce suited, going to be an easy snap fold versus a very strong under the gun +1 range. Exact same situation, another offsuit garbage, going to be a nice easy snap fold versus a small blind open. Under the gun opens, we're in the under the gun +2 with the 9 to 5, the working man's hand. Offsuit, going to be an easy snap fold even if it was suited as well. Just a downright terrible hand. Hijack opens, we're on the button with jack 9 offsuit, once again, very easy snap fold. Hijack, middle position, it's going to be a little bit wider than obviously under the gun in early position, but still going to be a decently tight, strong range, so we're still probably playing mostly a 3-bet or fold strategy, maybe mixing in some calls as well, as you can see. Mostly just because we don't want to allow either of the blinds to come along and play multi-way. Would be calling more versus a under the gun, like a early position open, I believe, but then we're mostly 3 better folding versus a, or maybe it's the other way, hang on. Yeah, no, I think we're calling a little bit more versus an early position, and then we're 3 betting more versus a late position open. Moving on to the next hand, once again, hijack opens, we're in the cutoff, very easy snap fold, with some offsuit garbage once again. Next hand, button opens, we're in the small blind of ace-9 offsuit. Going to be an easy snap fold. To me 100%, yeah. So, like, yes, the button's going to be opening very, very wide, but ace-9 offsuit, given that we're going to be out of position potentially to 2 players, at minimum to 1. We don't really want to be we don't really want to be overbloating the pot, we don't really want to be overplaying our hand. We don't really want to be putting ourselves in tough situations. And I guess a 9 kicker's kind of on that line where you might get a little bit too committed to your hand, a little bit too attached to your hand that you might not be able to easily snap folded in a lot of situations. Yes, you're most likely not going to get into a lot of out-kick situations, given that the button won't only really be raising with strong ace-x. But if a 3-bet might isolate a little bit more of a range that we could be outkicked by or playing really poorly up against. But it's mostly that, just out of position. It's that one of those middling hands that you don't want to really be caught in a situation where you're overplaying it. And as you can see, we're playing a 3-better fold strategy, given that we don't want to allow the big blind to come in behind and then be out of position to 2 players. And creating a pot odds situation where the big blind would be coming along with pretty much any 2 cards. Moving on to the next hand, cutoff opens when the big blind with ace-10 offsuit. Reckon this is a pretty easy call. No need to overbloat the pot and try to overplay our hand by 3-betting here. We've already isolated a heads-up situation, and we're out of position, so we don't really want to be playing a big pot heads up out of position. We don't need to isolate, we don't need to fold anyone else out of the hand, so there's no real need to be putting more chips in the middle. Board comes 9, 8, 3, 2 spades, nothing really going for us. We've got some backdoors. Ace high could be good at some frequency. Cutoff does hit this board decently strong. They have some 9x, they have some 8x. They do have some spade draws as well, so pretty easy check to kind of see where we're at. Sorry. Cutoff checks back, so they could be checking back a lot of hands here. Under pairs, for example, so they could be checking back some under pairs. They could be checking back. They would probably bet their spade draws. They'll bet all their pairs, for example. They could be checking back an overpair, trying to allow us to catch up and make a stab. But not a whole lot going for us. I reckon this is just another easy check. Just kind of take our showdown value. We do hit a 10 on the river. Might be a little bit too thin to go for value. Trying to get value from 9x, so we don't really think he could have, given that he didn't stab on the flop. And he could still have like overpairs that are trapping. So I'd much prefer kind of a check and check call, give him a little bit of rope to try to check call with. He does end up just checking back. So yeah, well played hand in my opinion, all the way through. Pretty easy, simple poker. No real need to be putting in any money, given that we had no equity to fall back on, and then that 10 on the river just a little bit too thin to go for value. Just not a whole lot in his range of, given how he was playing, that he would be able to call. And the only real things that he would be calling with, or even just raising us with, are things that he could have just been checking on the flop and checking on the turn, allowing us to kind of catch up, which we ended up doing. Moving on to the last hand, hijack opens. We're on the cutoff with ace-9 offsuit. Easy snap fold to finish it up. One of those hands, once again, going to be outkicked in a lot of situations. Middling kicker could get you into some trouble. and just not a lot of equity to kind of fall back on. It's kind of just hit your ace that's not even a good ace, and that's pretty much it. So 10 hands, 16 moves, 100% GTO score. No real difficult hands today. A lot of easy, simple poker, a lot of easy folds, and then a couple hands where we're pretty much just checking it all the way down, playing either a check call or a check fold strategy pretty much, just given that we either have too thin to go for value or just no equity and no fold equity either pretty much to be able to make a profitable bluff. So hope you guys learned something, enjoy yourselves, and as always, play well.